Hey, how you guys doing out there? James Humphrey with Associates Productions Movie Reviews. I got my co-host Jimmy with me, and today we are talking about Transporter. All three of them.
There was actually a fourth one as well.
Yes, I forgot about that one, but we're not going to talk about that one because that one.
That's like the adopted child that we just don't talk about that lives in the basement.
Right, that's exactly what that is. 'Cause that movie was just as bad. First one came out in 2002.
Yeah, which for the time frame, I feel like it wasn't a bad action movie. Like overall, like the movie itself was good. Mm-hmm. The acting was good for what it was. Yeah. It was the writing that was terrible.
The story. Like the overall story of the Transporter, I get. He got his rules, got all this other things, whatever.
Which he breaks. Like
every movie.
Yeah, every movie, exactly.
Which makes you feel like he breaks them every job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like he's that teenager in the back of McDonald's instead of fixing. That's why your food comes out wrong. He's on his cell phone. He's breaking the rules.
So they have the girl in there has to have some sort of love interest.
Yeah,
and then. The story is not even really about the Transporter. It's about her and her father and all this other bullshit.
Which is a bunch of lies, too, like to try to get him to rescue her people that's on the containers and stuff.
And then literally every Transporter the story doesn't refer about him. It's just more or less him
breaking his own rules
and helping
somebody else.
People.
Yeah.
Now, I like Jason Statham as an actor. I like him as a martial artist. He has good fight scenes, good believable fight scenes.
Yeah.
You know, he does the whole one-man army thing where it's just him fighting a whole bunch of people in the hallway or in a
kind of that retro area. Like Chuck Norris, Jet Li kind of thing. So,
and then they try to do this whole Bond gadget thing,
especially in the first one with him and his BMWs.
You know, and then
which gorgeous cars. Don't get me wrong, I love BMWs.
Yeah,
repair bills ain't worth it.
Yeah, and the stunts in the first one were halfway decent, believable.
Yeah, except in the beginning when he jumps onto the
he jumps the car on the rack thing.
I'm like, you might get lucky once, and that's a hard lucky.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, That was, I'm already getting into the second one thinking about some of his bullshit stunts, but...
But overall, the first one, really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
For its time.
For its time, most definitely. Let's move on to the second one. Second one came out in 2005. This is where action movies were getting way...
over the top.
Way out there.
That was about time... Too Fast, Too Furious was out, so it was kind of like we got to try to keep up with these other idiots.
And then cars were big on there too. Yeah. So he switched up vehicles from the BMW to an Audi. Yeah.
And then it was it was like a senator or something. I'm trying to think. He had something to do with the health deal.
Yeah. So they had the kid.
Yeah, and he got injected with the virus. Well, originally got kidnapped.
Yep.
And then you had the random bikini machine gun girl throughout the whole movie. Never put on clothes once. And it's like, if you're gonna pick somebody like that, like no offense to the actress herself, good face, but what's her like? You got to have a little bit more to look at there. If you're trying to sell sex appeal,
there always obviously some sort of sex appeal in the movie.
Every movie. So.
But let's get back on the story. So
they kidnap this kid.
They
try to inject. Well, they do inject him with the virus. And then the bogus stunt when he drops the kid off. He has the bomb on the bottom of the car and does this like 360 barrel roll, and the crane hook knocks the bomb off. Mind you, they literally like wait way too long to detonate this damn thing. Anyways, they're all on the boat halfway to Costa Rica, and they finally decide to detonate this damn thing.
And how the hell is he even going to know how much time
he
has for this bomb to detonate? I mean, everything is just perfectly in the movie where he just does the stuff perfectly,
and the amount, like the precision to try to knock it off too, like it was there's no way.
God awful.
There was no way.
Now, and the building jump still gets me.
That's where Seven got their idea.
You know, because he's in the one building, he follows the cops in the one building, he's going around whatever.
Yeah,
and then I'll give him that. The building was relatively next door to the other building.
Yeah.
I give him that. And I guess revving your engine fast enough, you know, you might be able, if he jumped it from here and fell a couple stories down.
It's one of those, a hard lucky again.
Yeah, like, but he didn't do it with a ramp. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There was no ramp.
He just had to hope that he cleared that floor before it made it a convertible.
Yeah, yeah. And then he's hitting the poles, slowing them down all the way to the edge of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the way, like, has the story progressed with that, with the whole virus thing. Now, this is what didn't make no sense at all with that. They had the antidote. The guy, like, put the antidote in him, and that was his, like, you know,
way of transferring.
kind of a fuck you kind of thing.
Way
it's
of
like
him transferring the thing,
yeah.
whatever.
So this virus is so easily spread, COVID, and he goes, like, the kid gets around his parents, and once he gets back, they immediately catch it, and he's out there spreading it. Now, the way that they did it, they only made it seem like they were the only ones who catched it, even though when he was getting loaded in the ambulance, you've seen a guy coughing on the curb. So you know, like, there had to be a ton of people infected with this virus.
Before then.
Yeah. And by the time they get the antidote and get that all back, God knows how much is already spread. So you can't mass produce that in that time frame, but they only play on the main characters.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, you only see the two parents in recovery.
Yeah.
But they infected, has to be at least thousands or hundreds of people.
Yeah, exactly, because it was like a convention in New York or some shit.
Yeah, and then that was the whole plot of the movie, was them to kill all these senators, whatever, in this whole...
Yeah, and then the...
time frame or whatever.
The whole bullshit on the plane with... how he got on the plane, slightly believable, because again, you could set it on cruise control, you could hop on the landing gear.
Yeah.
You fucking one shot and one shot only. But then when they crash the plane, the water comes through, and yet they're friggin' 100 feet underwater.
Yeah.
And it's still only half full, even though you just watched it all.
The pressure alone would crush it, just like the Titanic or something.
Yeah.
You know, because it's this little tiny plane,
or fill up a hell of a lot faster than what it did. So, and you still got this entire fight scene, like waist deep water, while they're 100 feet underwater, and then all of a sudden, after he whoops his ass and gets him in the life jacket, now all of a sudden it's filled up with water, and then you still got to reclimb a good like 100 feet.
You would think they would
water.
have drowned by the time they got to the surface.
There's no way you'd be able to hold your breath that long. I mean, maybe if you're a really good trained Navy SEAL, but as for Scarface over there with the virus in him, his ass been dead.
And then you got the initial third act ending scene with the fight scene where he busts in there with the taxi.
Yeah,
you know, and they shoot up the car. I'm like, they Swiss cheese that fucking car. There's no way in hell.
And that was another big issue on that, because like, especially in the hospital scene where they right before they abduct the kid, she pulls out her guns and she's getting ready to lay in, and she lays into that door, and apparently a wooden door can stop bullets. But that fucker, you know, just straight melts through the walls and coming at him, and I'm like, yeah, that works. I want to know what door they had. I'm going to put that on my house.
Yeah. It's probably oak or something like that.
Yeah. You know.
In a dentist's office.
Yeah.
They use oak wood doors in a dentist's office.
So that's where you know to hide, like you hear gunfire.
I mean, the action was good.
Yeah, it was good action.
The action was good. It's still a good action movie.
You just got to get past the writing and the really...
cheesy
unrealistic stunts.
You gotta get past the stunts, you know. Jumping out of the car, grabbing the antidote and landing on the car and everything. Yeah. I mean, it looks flashy, it looks nice, but the dude's not... He's not car proof.
Yeah.
You know, he landed on top of a car and smashed it completely.
Yeah.
And then, you know, got up without a scratch.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one where he got like thrown into the boat too by the Hulk looking dude.
Yeah.
And
dude that was whooping his ass.
Yeah, like straight up, like the second he hit, the way he hit his back alone, and then the guy like banes him over his back start with.
Now that I'm thinking about it, he actually goes through a couple of walls
in the process too
of these three movies, and he just gets right up like nothing happened.
I'm like, dude, nobody's gonna take that and get back up, not unless you're like jacked up on something that we don't know about. Like,
he is Jason Statham. I give him that.
No, fair enough. But
set it up for a sequel at the end of every movie, just like they do.
Yeah,
phone call thing. Which brings us to
the third one. Which, honestly, the plot on that alone with the whole
let's break our process and let's talk about good things in the movie.
The good things?
Yeah. Let's break our process just for this episode and talk about the good things in this movie.
Jeopardy sound right now.
Good things in the movie.
Good things in the movie. They wow. Yeah, that's a tough one.
So go to the bad things in the movie. Yeah, let's go to the bad things in the movie.
It was a ripoff of Speed.
So much.
Because instead of going under a certain speed and you blow up, it's if you leave the car a certain distance and you blow up in these little wristband things.
Yeah.
And then you got the senator's daughter that they kidnapped and he's transported.
Which, how the fuck does he not know she is the package throughout the whole fucking movie?
I know, what was it, like halfway or 3/4, and he finally opens the bags and he's like, phone books.
Yeah,
and
it's like, how the fuck do you not know?
Right.
Like, dude, seriously, man.
Like, she was with the other guy.
Yeah.
That he passed along and realistically killed his friend.
Yeah.
So, moment of silence for the fallen guy.
I mean, but the story alone, it's about they kidnapped the daughter.
And now,
go ahead.
I was going to say, for the story though, something I didn't really follow. What the fuck were they smuggling? It was some kind of environmental thing, but and they were
in some boats and containers.
Yeah, they were trying so hard to get him to sign that, but they never really specified what the fuck they were smuggling. I
actually just watched this movie before the movie review, and I actually don't know what the fuck they were smuggling.
It was just one like. The opening cut of it, they had something like it was leaking
like contamination bullshit, or some radioactive waste or something.
But they never really was exactly what it was, and then they never really specified what their intentions were once they even got it in.
That is a plot hole of the finest, man. Goddamn.
Like, it bugged the shit out of me the whole movie. Because I'm sitting there just waiting for some type of explanation on this. And it's all focused around him and this chick that end up, falling in love. Obviously there's an age gap, something fierce. This girl's got to be like 19, maybe 21. And Statham's like in his late 30s or some shit.
Because they did give him his background in the second one where he's like talking about all the special forces training and all this other shit.
But...
I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Anyway, so they kidnapped the girl.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get him to sign some papers and shit. And then the big badass transporter gets captured and gets the
wristband thing
on there.
And he goes up against another Hulk. It kind of reminded me of the scene in Punisher when the French guy shows up. Because he's like not even denting this guy until he falls through the floor.
And he's just beating the shit out of him when he could really just take a container and just maybe smash his head in or something like that.
It's like, go for the knees. That's the golden rule. If they're bigger than you, go for the knees.
Yeah, something like that. Here's the thing with the fight scenes, though. I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed it. Is that the fight scenes are very cut and choppy.
Yeah.
And it's not like Jason Statham was like old. They usually do this with the old timers where they have to do many different cuts in the fight scene.
Yeah.
To just shoot or throw one punch. It's in the fight scenes they do a lot of cutting different in between
different angles.
In between
and a lot of camera jumping around.
Yeah, it's like seasickening. It's like, okay, just show him punching the guy or show him
they do that with
throw.
The car scenes too in those movies. Like they'll have that like weird angle. It's like, oh, here's the front end, now here's the back end, and here's the front end again, and
it was very all over the place, which made the fight scenes look bad. At least to me, it makes the fight scenes look like terrible because they're doing all these different cutting and everything.
Yeah, you can't really experience the
they didn't do that
fight.
In the first transporters where Jason Statham was whooping some ass.
Yeah, the second one wasn't too bad on the fight scenes. They kind of started that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just it was very hard to watch.
Yeah,
and then
that whole movie was hard to watch.
Let's talk about the stunts. Which stupid ass stunt do you want to talk about first? Do you want to do that?
Actually, I had one saved in mind for this. I've been waiting for this one.
Do you want to talk about the car on the side thing? Or do you want to
That one was bullshit, but...
I know it's doable.
It's doable. But my thing was at the end, when they get the girl, And this guy runs his shit, and as a car person, I'm poking holes in their ship all the way on this one.
Yeah.
The little thing for their bomb is wired into his car.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's going to take voltage.
Yeah.
He drives this motherfucker into the dam, into the water, goes under. Electronics are fried at that point. Yeah. Like, everything's done. He should have blew up right then and there.
Yeah.
Secondly, he gets out of this damn thing.
Yeah.
Now, the valve stem thing is a real thing to get air when you're underneath. Like,
I thought that was very inventive. I thought that was very inventive. Very Mission Impossible.
Yeah, that's a thing. But he does that, and I only seen him do it to two wheels, unless maybe it was like that jumpy camera and I missed the other two wheels.
It doesn't matter how many wheels.
Well, for when he took the bags out of the trunk and decided to use them as a fucking life raft.
No, listen to me. That too is inventive. I thought that was very inventive. But using the forward air out of the tires to lift the fucking car back up,
there would have been enough air. There would have been enough air.
There's no way in hell there's enough air in those little ass 22 rim tires.
Yeah, and also a car guy, and him being a car guy and having everything, to specifics, those tires probably had anywhere between 32 psi to 35. Two of those motherfuckers would not turn it into a life raft. 4 might get you to start to come up a smidge.
I mean, how much does the car itself weigh?
Audis are generally, I want to say that one's probably about
any 30. Fucking car is too much. Yeah. Don't think about it. Don't even think about it. Any fucking car is too much weight.
Yeah, I got the logistics on that one.
halfway through the movie, the car gets stolen. And he's chasing through the car.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
First he's on foot. He chases the car on foot through the market.
Which he might be able to keep up that way, being in the market, because he's got to dodge everybody else driving.
Yeah, so and he's driving through there.
Yeah, like a 20 mile an hour. Like if he was trying to do that, like football players can run like 25 miles an hour. But granted, that's short sprints. This motherfucker's making city blocks.
Yeah, and then he's still. It's not even a 10-speed bike, man.
This is a little BMX bike. Yeah, and he goes full-blown Dave Mirra on this thing.
And he's chasing the car down the alley. Even if he's fighting, even if the driver's fighting the one girl in the back, there's no way in hell he can't just...
Yeah, and realistically, when he cut through that building, he was too far from the thing. It would have detonated. It was, because they weren't even that far to start with when they were on the bridge and that thing was getting ready to blow the hell up. Like, there's no way.
No way in hell.
No way.
It was fucking terrible. To keep up with the 120 mile an hour car.
Yeah, with faster than that, actually. Those things do like 140, 150.
A BMX bike.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he's a pro BMX rider. He's friggin' grinding rails and jumping out of buildings with a bike. Like, I ride with plenty of people that, they probably wouldn't even they do the rails, but they wouldn't do the building.
Yeah, it was pretty...
And then how he jumps off the bike, and then somehow that car is stopped in perfect position for him to straight GTA through that window, Dukes of Hazzard style, and then you're fired, and then takes off, and it's like, man, yeah, that movie was tough. The
bike thing was kind of hard for me.
Yeah, and then the scene right before, or basically right after he did the two wheels thing, when they're chasing down the mountain and the trees and stuff. Another fast.
The car chase scene. Which had entertaining car chase scenes. Entertaining car chase scenes that aren't believable.
And then all of a sudden he just after they go off the cliff, they're literally drag racing, and these guys and the other car know that it's coming up. So why don't they slow down and let him go off the cliff, kind of thing. They just keep going, and they fly off, and then, he cuts it and a smidge over by the edge, and I'm like, gravel? Nah.
He's a professional driver, though, even though he's in the Army or some shit. Special Forces, he's a professional driver.
One's professional, and they're bullshit, and that one's bullshit.
Overall, as we're starting to close, they're good movies.
The first two are.
For their time, yeah.
The first two are. The third one, it was, I don't know.
Third one came out in 2008.
It just...
And it was a walking out of the theater moment for me with the bicycle thing.
Yeah.
Either that or the two riding on the two wheels in between the two trucks.
I mean, I could have went with either one of those for the most part. The bicycle one is a complete like bogus one, but for me, it truly was like at the end with the damn bridge, and then the fact that the damn thing starts. They get it to start afterwards.
Yeah.
Audis are all computer. That thing would have been toast. There's no way that thing would have started. Motor would have been flooded. Everything
he just pulls it out of the river.
I'm gonna have this thing like up and running in 15 minutes. It's like, and then go run down a train and jump it onto the train.
Yeah,
and then
that is literally like the only stunt that looks believable compared to all the other stunts. Was just ramming the car into the train, because that clearly you could do that. But I feel like the train would be going so fast that it would just tear the car apart.
He wouldn't be able to lock on.
He wouldn't be able to lock onto it.
Yeah,
you know.
And then when it's on top and he goes back because apparently now he's too far again from the car.
Yeah.
He runs back. Guy unhooks the train and the damn thing's starting to go away. By the time he climbs up there, gets in the car to drive it, and then versus like the gap that he did jump versus the gap that would have been there in that time frame because it was already moving, there's no way. Like that thing would have been at least a good like 30-40 feet by that time. And when he jumped it looked like it was maybe 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then he gets the wrist bracelet off from that one guy and puts it on him, and then when that bomb explodes to kill him in the very end, it's like realistically that where they were in that cart too, they've been dead from the explosion, like, or severely hurt, but apparently they ain't even friggin' scratched. So, I could honestly go on this movie. It's so bad.
It's still good movies for its time. I still watch the first Transporter.
Yeah, the first Transporter is bearable.
Very good. Other than the first stunt,
Yeah, and the second one again, good movie
good
overall.
Action.
Yeah,
good
action and fairly decent story. I feel like the story wasn't horrible.
I felt like just placing the bomb in the hotel and just blowing everybody up is better than trying to get everybody sick.
Yeah, because.
But what do I know? I'm not thinking about that stuff.
It's just that one, and then but by the time you get to the third one, it's a bad ripoff of Speed, and it's just like poor writing and okay, we ran out of ideas kind of shit. Like, so.
I think we're gonna end it there.
Yeah. Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. Next week we're doing Suicide Squad.
Suicide Studio?
Yeah, Suicide Studio. The movie's got me so tongue twisted.
Right.
But yeah, Suicide Squad, first and second one.
That should be fun.
Should be fun. So I guess we'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.